Guys, it's Kelly here and I'm back again with another video. Today's video is featuring some of the new release from Syberia Designs, and we're going to do a fun little like stencil on stencil technique. This is part of a video hop celebrating their 1-year anniversary. How super exciting for them. Their illustrations are fantastic. I'm thrilled that they invited me to celebrate with them. So many prizes, you guys. There's like over $1,000 in prizes of just various things. So it is quite the birthday celebration indeed. So in order to enter to win on the YouTube hop, leave a comment saying where you're from and what your favorite set is from this release. And don't forget they also have like an Instagram hop and a blog hop, and there's chances to win for all of them. They're all open until September 17th. And then the winner will be announced on the Syberia blog on September 18th. So hop along, leave lots of love, more chances to win. Yay. So what you see me doing here is I'm doing a bit of hot foiling. I left this in. You guys know I believe in being completely transparent. And even though this is my job, there are still some things I struggle with. Hot foil is one of them. I love the results, especially with sentiments, which is what I'm using them for here. I'm using the birthday and wish die sets, or hot foil set, and it has a matching die set. I'll be using both. And then I'm also using the, what is it birthday sentiments? Why don't I know this? I don't know. I'll link it below. You guys know how I roll. But anyway, it's this one right here. And it's just a veritable cornucopia of like congratulatory sentiments and birthday sentiments, and like some of them are really like fun, like you're how old, like more candles, more wishes, things like that. Like some of them are super fun, some of them are just very general happy birthday or enjoy your day. They're really, really good ones. And I like, because I'm not very good at foiling, I like very much that it lets me do it all in one fell swoop. So that way I have a lot of options to choose from. So I ended up using the Happy Birthday and the Make-A-Wish from the hot foil and die set. And then I used one sentiment from each version. I did a rainbow on white, and then I did a white on black. So I used one of these. I use 3 of them, one on each card is what I'm trying to say. Let's get into the technique, shall we? The double stencil. So I was looking at the products, and they have a lot of really like good fun ones, but they had this balloon stencil, and I love a balloon stencil. I do not know why. I have other videos showing me using balloon stencils, but I just like them. I just think they're tons of fun, and you can just use them for just anybody's birthday. And literally, you could be like stranger on the street. It's your birthday. Here's a card with this balloon stencil. It's perfect. They're so versatile. I love them. But anyway, so this one comes with, it's got 3 different balloon sizes, and it has the masks that come with them, which is so helpful, because then you have like these perfect little coverings to make sure you don't get your ink blending anywhere that you don't want. You saw me put some Tombow Mono Multi-Glue on the back of mine. Tombow Mono Multi-Glue dries are repositionable. And so as long as you don't put it down while it's still wet, if you put it down while it's wet, it's permanent. But like I just kind of like smear it on there a little bit. It dries tacky, and it's perfect for holding these things in place. So let's move on to the actual ink blending. You may notice I'm using brushes. I am, because brushes put down a lighter application of color, and I want my balloons to have the look of transparency as balloons would in real life. So I went in with the brush and a soft amount of color just around the edges. I added a little bit darker color at the bottom where the balloon would be gathered. Here is where the stencil, the double stenciling, the stencil and stencil comes in. I just pulled out a handful of different stencils that I had from Syberia, and I just started adding patterns to my balloons. And I have to tell you, I think they are so stinking cute. It like is just another way to get more mileage out of your balloons. And you could do this with just any stencil that you have. Just any old stencil. And like this one, which is the modern chevron, because it has diagonal stripes and chevrons in like 2 different directions. This one's super versatile because, you know, you're only using a section of it. You're just using one section of it to add the pattern. So here I just added like a little up and down chevron. And then I'm going to move on to the next balloon. There's no masking involved for these because balloons are transparent, which means you would see the other balloons behind this balloon. Like you would see them. So no masking. This is a 1-layer card. It's so easy. And it's super fun. So for this first one, I am doing, I'm just using the same stencil. I wanted to show you don't even need, you need the like a balloon stencil or whatever object. You could do this with circles, squares, ovals, whatever you got, you know, whatever. But the little balloons I love, so I use them. But here I'm just going to use the diagonals. I'm only going to use a portion of it, and it's just going to be a diagonal stripe design. But I'm only going to use just this one stencil as my design element. I think it's really fun. I think it's really fun this way. But I'm going to show you different things that you can do with the double stencil. Here, I just didn't have a dark enough color application. So instead of using the Twisted Citron, I went back in with a little bit of Mowed Lawn as well. And that made it darker and then much more noticeable. You will notice as we build on these, whatever balloon you do last is going to give the appearance of being in the front, because that's going to be the stronger color. Here, I'm going to do blue, and again, I'm going to end up doing a rainbow of colors, but you could use whatever colors make you happy. The only thing that I would tell you is you would probably want to use colors that will lay nicely on top of each other so that will work together well. Because of the no masking and the transparency. So like I wouldn't put a blue on top of an orange necessarily because they're complementary colors and they're probably not going to be that cute. Blue and orange together on a card, beautiful. Blue and orange combined together, questionable. Unless you have a real red, orange, and a real like purplish blue, then maybe it could work. Anyway, this is not about color theory. I'm just saying don't mix complementary colors. You might get mud. Or do it off your project to test it. So when you do the balloons, that is the one that looks up front. So right now our yellow balloon is pushed behind. So I am going to go back in with my stencils, and stuff's falling over in my room. We'll talk about my stacks on stacks here in a minute. But anyway, I'm going to go back in with the yellow just to bring that back into the forefront. So at first I just went back in with the pattern, and then I was like, okay, I'm done. And then I quickly realized that I actually needed to go back in over the whole balloon to really bring it back to the front. So that is what I did. And then I got yellow where I didn't want it. You just saw me do it right there in the top right corner. I totally got yellow where I did not want it. So now I'm adding even more balloons. I've sped it up. So I'm adding even more balloons now because I have to cover my boo-boo there. Because I didn't put those little mask pieces back in. Why didn't I? They're right here on my desk and I didn't even have to cut them out. I don't know why. But I didn't. And then I had a little boo-boo. So now I've just added these other 2 balloons because I can't just have 4. It's got to be 3 or it's got to be 5. So yeah, super, super easy technique, lots of fun. And I'm using my Altenew sticky mat, which just makes holding the stencils so much easier. Here, I've learned my lesson and I'm going to put a little buffer piece to hold underneath it to make sure that I don't get ink where I don't want it. So then once we do this one, we're going to move on to the next example, which is going to be kind of mixing and matching different stencils for each balloon, which gives us a lot of different textures, but is also super fun. For this one, because I knew I was going to have a lot of balloons, I just started with the stencil with all 3 of the balloons on the paper, because these 3 aren't touching. So because these 3 aren't touching, I picked the 3 colors I absolutely would not want laying over top of each other. So I picked an orange, a yellow, and a purple because I don't want my purple over my orange or over my yellow. Again, complementary, it's not a good look. So because of that, now I know my layering balloons are going to be pink, blue, and green, which will work relatively well with any of those colors. The green I got to be a little careful with. But the pink and the blue will work with, I mean, like the pink works with the yellow and the purple and the orange. The blue will work with the yellow and the purple. So just like try to pay attention to your color schemes, basically. So I use the chevron again for the one at the bottom. And then for this one, this little orange one, I'm actually going to use, they have a confetti stencil that you can like build up its layering. So you build it up to do all the different pieces of confetti. I didn't even use all of them. I literally just grabbed one of them to put like some little fun confetti pieces inside my balloon. That's super fun. The other one I used is, it's a newer stencil with this release. What's it called? Shiny Diamonds. I used that one. And then I used the waves. I used the waves vertical and I used the waves horizontal. So again, don't be afraid to turn them around so you can get a little bit of a different look. And then we're just going to go through and do the same thing we've been doing. So, I said we were going to talk about my stacks on stacks. So if you watch my channel, I have talked about forever now, like mystery boxes and how much I like stuff I have that I need to purge. And it just, it just stacks up. And my sisters and my mom, that was my birthday gift last year. They came over and helped me like clean everything out and get room and space for it and everything. And here we are literally 1 year later. And ladies and gentlemen, instead of like stacks on stacks on stacks, which if you're old like me, I'll explain it to you. It means that you got a lot of money. I got boxes on boxes on boxes. Like my poor sister and mom came over the one for some kind of party and they were like, what is going on in your craft room? And I was like, I just don't have a good system. And we tried to fix that last time. Like we tried to give me more space, but, the bin that I have got overfilled and then I didn't have time to, like, I didn't have anywhere else to put it. So then they just stayed in their boxes. And then I needed to clean out my bins of retired product and I just didn't have time to do it. So then recently my mom and my sister also like were helping me clean out the retired product. But then like the stuff comes back in bags, which is, I mean, it's amazing that they're even helping me do it at all. That's not a complaint whatsoever. But then I have to put the bags away and that's just like cleaning out the box. It's just like cleaning out the boxes. I just don't have time to do it. So I try to make a little bit of time every day to put like one of the bags away. But like then the retired product is also accumulating. Several people have made comments like over the year and a half that I've talked about getting rid of these mystery boxes, about like, oh, did I miss it? Or I don't want to miss it. Don't worry. You ain't missed nothing. I haven't gotten rid of anything. It's all still here, living in my home, much to my husband's dismay. So I will make an announcement when I am ready to get rid of them. Don't you worry, because I want them gone. I just need to find time to pack them. So yeah, so that's that. I boxes on boxes. I'm not a person who is good at organization. And I think a lot of us who are creatives really do kind of struggle with that. We got to go back to the cards. So this is the third card. And this one, so I already have my balloon stencil in place for the blue. I've done the other two stencils in the background. Now this one is something different. So we're going to do the double stencil technique still with the colors. And mind you, I'm doing all tone on tone, but you don't have to. Like I could put a yellow over this and make a green stripe and that would be super cute as well. But I like a tone on tone because I wanted a rainbow and I got a lot of colors going on. But now we're going to bring in some pastes. Here's the thing about pastes. So I'm going to use some glitter paste over this. And the one that I use is just iridescent. It's from Hero Arts. And you could do a white paste. You could do a gold. You could do just all kinds of stuff. But I just like the plain glitter one because it just picks up the color of whatever's behind it. The thing is, you have to make a decision about what balloon or what focal point you want the glitter on. because once you do it, you can't do the other ones because the paste sits up higher, so you can't get the stencil back flush with your cardstock again. I mean, like if I had a balloon that was like down to the bottom right, I could maybe do that one, but anything that's tucked behind this balloon, I won't be able to get the glitter on. The other thing is, you saw just what happened to me there, and I keep picking up that portion of the stencil, and I did get some over pasting. Be careful what direction you're dragging your paste. So I try to make sure I drag it in the same direction that my lines are going. But this is super fun way to just add some, extra things in order to make sure my ends kind of stay tucked into my balloon. I just tap them with my finger while they're still wet. And then I wouldn't immediately wash that off because that stuff is like glue. So you got to get rid of it right away. And then in the same balloon stencil, I didn't use them for the other ones. I just one of them I didn't even put strings on. The other one I just kind of hand doodled them. But there is a string included in the stencil. And so that's what I'm doing here. And I'm just using hickory smoke and a really, really light hand just to give like the illusion of strings, because that's definitely more of a simple card. Here is that stripes die, the thin stripes die I was telling you about before, and I'm going to use that to cut out both sets of those sentiments. And then the wish and the birthday have a shadow die, but they also have the word die, if in case you didn't do like the foiling or whatever, which I wouldn't blame you one bit. I'm on the struggle bus with the foiling. I know if I did it more, I'd be better at it, but I don't, so I'm not. And that's just real talk. That's just knowing your own limits. I know that if I practiced at it, I would be better, but I don't practice at it. So all of these, I just kept them as one layer cards, as far as like, I didn't pop them up with any dimension, I guess I should say. I trimmed my little sentiments down, the ones that came from the thin stripes, just trimmed them into little labels. And so this one will say, make a wish, it's your day. And it's going to fill up the kind of that bottom right to balance out our design with our 3 diagonal balloons. This one I did have to hold in place for just, a second or two because I'm trying to glue it on top of that paste. And so I got to give the glue time to dry so that it's not going anywhere. You guys know, I love a white sentiment on black. Like the little label things is totally my jam. It probably dates me, but do I care? Not at all. Because I like it. So, but the doing the foil on the black, really very cool because it's like matte. This foil is matte, the white that I have. Very cool. Anyway, so I did them all exactly the same and just, like as far as the flatness, this one has a smaller border than the middle one, and the other one just has a border on the sides, just to bring in that black and tie it all together. The way I'm going to add in the glitter to the rest of the balloons on this one is I'm going to use Stardust Stickles. Again, it's a slightly different glitter, but it does take on the color of the ink behind it, so they match well enough. For this one, I'm not going to put any glitter on it at all. I know, shocking. But I did add some white gel pen highlights. I just wanted to show you the difference between the couple of things that you could do. And then for this one over here, I'm going to do both because this is, sometimes you just got to throw the kitchen sink at it. You know what I'm saying? So here I did some white gel pen highlights along the chevrons. Again, whatever balloon is in the front, that's going to have the full line. The balloons that are in the back will only have the line on the portion that you would be able to see. So just keep that in mind. And then once I was done with all the little white line detail, I went back in with those stickles and I just added a line of glitter to each one of those little stripies or the chevrons, depending upon what we used. So that one's got all kinds of glittery fun stuff going on. Another alternative would be like a glossy accents or a lacquer pen. That would be super fun. In order to kind of fill in some of my white space and pull everything together and of course add more shine, because you know how I feel about that, I'm going to go in, these are iris gemstones from Crafty Meraki, and I'm just putting those on. I put down glue with my little glue pen, or with my glue press, which I totally love, by the way. Yeah, you barely have to pull the trigger on that thing. It's fantastic. And then I use my crystal katana to put my gems in place, and that's it. That's all 3 cards. So I hope that you will continue on the hop. Make sure you're leaving some love so you can be entered to win. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I always appreciate your time, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.